Hi guys, and welcome to episode 12 of Crafts from the Third Floor. My name's Tracy and I'm coming to you today from Leicestershire, which is right in the heart of England. It's Friday the 26th of January and I am podcasting 1 week after my last podcast. I'm growing and I'm so happy about it. The weather today is pretty good, so I'm going to try and capture the last of the light before I have to run off and pick the kids up from school. I can just give you some details about where you can find me online. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as NorahGeorge Yarns. We also have a group on Ravelry called NorahGeorge, and you can find my website at www.norahgeorgeyarns.com. So like I said, it's just been 1 week since my last podcast, so there's not a great deal of things for me to show you, but I will show you anyway. So I'm going to jump straight in because I'm on a bit of a tight schedule today. I've just been to have my hair cut, so thank you to my wonderful hairdresser Lauren if you're watching. I doubt you are, but hi Lauren anyway. Lauren's been cutting my hair for about 15 years and we're both sort of in our early 30s, so we've known each other for a really long time. And it's always a pleasure to go and see her, and she's always really interested in my knitting, which is always a winner for me. So I'm going to jump straight into my works in progress. One of them you saw last week. I've not made a great deal of progress because it's kind of my handbag knitting, and that is my apple blossom socks. So you can see not a great deal of progress has been made, but these are always in my handbag just when I have a spare couple of minutes to get some done while I'm waiting for the kids or something like that. I've got this cute, oh, back to front bear, there he is. And he's just my little charm, my little happy helper. And he was from Tilting Planets. The yarn is my yarn in Apple Blossom. And it's just a plain vanilla 68 stitch vanilla sock on 2.25 needles that I've just dropped some stitches. And these are high sharp 9-inch circular needles, which are probably my favourite needles for knitting socks on. And that is those. So there's no great deal of information to share with you about those. They're just plain vanilla socks, gorgeous lovely TV knitting. I've also got a sock here I need to put a heel in. This was a machine sock that I did a long time ago when I first got my machine, and this is my Aragog colourway. I can just show you. So this is Aragog, and Aragog just needs a heel. So it was just knit on my sock machine, and then it was before I could do heels and toes, so that's just a nice rounded toe that I knit on afterwards. So nothing particularly interesting there. My next work in progress, which will soon be a finished object because it has to be, because it's a test knit and it's due on the 31st of January, is my mix and match cardigan. So I'm just going to scooch back a bit. And this is a pattern by Mina Philipp that will be released soon. And it's a great pattern. I absolutely love it. You get lots of options with the pattern for different collars for the cardigan. You can do a textured stitch version or a stockinette stitch, which is what I've done. I can just show you. And you can also choose a different hem. I'm actually about 4 rows from finishing the body of my cardigan. So I've got probably 2 inches, just under 2 inches of my ribbed hem. And then I just need a couple more maybe rows and bind off. And my body will be done. And then it's just sleeves to knit. The yarn that I'm using for this is BC Garn Semilla, which is 100% organic wool. And the colourway is 136, which is called Powder Pink. And it is a delight. I absolutely adore this yarn. It's so nice to knit with. It's not too soft, but it's not scratchy. It's got the right amount of ply between the 2 strands, and it's just beautiful, beautiful to work with. It gives a great, interesting texture. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up. So it's not a uniformed texture. It's got a bit of interest in there. It will probably block out and be quite uniformed, but it's been a delight to work with anyway. And I'm knitting this for my mum. And she has requested 3/4 length sleeves, which I'm happy to oblige because obviously that means I don't have to knit full length sleeves. So So I'm hoping this will be finished over the weekend. And that's another work in progress. I have a couple of finished objects. Well, I have 2 finished objects that I forgot to show you a while ago that I'd finished in December, and also a very nearly finished object as well. So I cannot remember the pattern off the top of my head for this, but I will pop it on the screen. This is a hat that I knit for Finn. It's been washed a few times, so it's kind of started to felt a little bit. This is Knit Picks Biggo yarn in Sapphire Heather, I believe it's called. And it actually fits me because I've got a weirdly small head for an adult. It's a gorgeous hat. Really super quick knit because it's a super chunky yarn. My hair look a mess now. So I used the stitch pattern from the hat to make a matching cowl. This hasn't been washed yet, so you can see the difference in the texture. So it's the same yarn and it's the same stitch pattern from the hat, but I just knit as a cowl. I think, from what I can remember, I cast on 100 stitches. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can see it gives you a nice cowl. It is for Finn, so it's a bit bigger on him, but it will be a great size for an adult as well. It's not too gapey, but you can also, if you wanted to, fold it in half, so it's not quite as restrictive. There is a project page on my Ravelry, so if you wanted to check it out, all the details are on there, but I'll try and put as much information as I can on the screen. And this, it's like a petrol, it's showing a lot brighter than it actually is. It's a dark petrol blue, I would call it. And it's lovely, and the stitch pattern gives a real lovely squishy texture. I cannot remember what it was called, but anyway. My last finished object, last time I showed you that I'd had a new cylinder for my sock knitting machine. Just have a drink, my throat's a bit scratchy. So I had a 48 stitch cylinder for my sock machine, which I bought with the intention of making socks for the kids. So after a lot of arguing and falling out with my machine, because knitting a 48 stitch sock on the machine is actually a lot harder than it sounds. It's not as easy as doing a bigger stitch count. And mainly that's because the size of the cylinder, or the diameter of the cylinder itself, is exactly the same whether you knit a 72 stitch sock or a 48. So obviously the yarn has to stretch much more when it's on a 48 cylinder. As a result, it's a lot more difficult to get the tension right. And even though on my 72 and 64 I can just rattle off socks no problem, this sock here took me 4 attempts of knitting, ripping out, knitting, ripping out, knitting, ripping out, arguing with the machine over heels and toes, and yeah, a lot of curse words. But I got there in the end. So these are socks for Finn. And it's my normal folded hem, although this is just a 20 row folded hem. And then a heel on the machine, which is basically, it's like a short row heel that you would knit by hand, and then the same again for the toe, which is then kitchened together. And it's just that red just there is where I actually kitchened it. I've done a really bad job. Look how pointy it is on the sides. But anyway. So this is Finley's sock, and I've just grabbed one of mine just for comparison purposes, so you can see there's quite a big difference. This was knit on a 64 cylinder, so equivalent 64 stitch sock, and this is a 48. So it is teeny weeny. Oh, I love it. So the yarn for this was actually a Shani's Yarnys yarn. I can't remember the colourway. I'd lost the tag by the time I came to use it, but Finn chose it. I'd knit these on the tightest tension that I could get on the machine, and it's still quite loose. I'm hoping with a wash and maybe a very quick finish off in a tumble dryer just before it's dry might help shrink it a tiny bit, because at the moment they probably are going to be a bit stretchy and not perfect. So 48 stitch socks are definitely a work in progress on the machine. But I have one, and the other one is here, and it's on the needles ready to be kitchenered at some point. And then that will be a entirely finished object rather than a very nearly finished object. So lovely socks, really soft, pretty yarn. And I love them, and Finn will love them when they're finished too. So that is all that I have to show you in terms of my knitting. And because I haven't got really a lot to show you, because I'm just furiously working on this test knit for Mina, I thought I would bring back a section that I started not all that long ago, but it was a from the archive section. So it's something that I've been working on in the past that maybe I'd finished, but this week it's actually something that I started when I was pregnant with Pippa, so 4 years ago. And it's still a work in progress, because it's one of those projects that you can only ever pick up when you really want to work on it. So I will grab that for you, and then I will give you a chat through my from the archives, and then we'll move on to some more acquisitions. Okay, so what I want to show you today is actually not knitting related, it's actually sewing, and it's hand sewing. So about 4 years ago, I saw on Instagram that somebody was hand piecing a quilt, and it just blew my mind. And I thought, right, I've got to have a go at that. And it was at a point where I was making lots of quilts on the machine, but I wanted something that was a bit more portable so that I didn't have to sit in a room on my own on the machine. I just wanted something that I could take with me. And the pattern that I saw is from this book, Millefiori Quilts by Willyne Hammerstein. I was trying not to get too much reflection there because I'm sitting opposite the window. And the pattern is called La Passacaglia. And this is the quilt. This is all hand pieced. And it's called, in pieces that are called rosettes. So you can see if I get that right place. I think there's 2,000, just over 2,000 pieces of fabric that are cut out, basted around a paper piece, and then wrapped around a paper piece and then basted together. So this is as far as I got. I decided to fussy cut all of my fabric. So this is my first rosette. And as you can see, I fussy cut all of these pieces are individual pieces. So this is just a star here that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces for the star, and then these polygons are they called? I'm not sure. And diamonds. So all of these are individual pieces that I fussy cut. So they all looked the same. And if I just hold it back, you can get an idea of the size of this quilt. Well, this quilt will be one day if I ever finish it. This is another rosette, a smaller size. It's actually had the paper pieces taken out, so it's not as rigid. So again, all fussy cut pieces of fabric. And this is my final rosette. So I've only done 3 out of 400,000 probably. I love these little pandas. This is a Tula pink fabric, I believe. So there's a lot of work that went into this. I love the centre of this. So as a whole, if I can hold it back and get most of it in for you. So this is 2 of, I think, I can't even remember how many rosettes. I think there's 19 or maybe more. So this is as far as I got, and obviously it's already quite large. But it is a great project for taking with you somewhere. You can take pieces of fabric if you cut them first maybe, and then you can hand stitch them together. So that's my La Passacaglia. And to make my life a little bit easier, when I started making it originally, you could buy a kit. I'm not sure whether you still can, but I'm sure you can. And you could buy a kit which came with, let me just move my chair closer. The paper pieces, so all of the paper pieces that you would need to make the quilt. So they're all cut out for you. You get the right amount of each one. And then you could also buy the equivalent plastic guides to cut out your fabric. Get that to focus. Okay, there we go. So this is the piece that you would use, and then you'd cut the fabric there, and then this solid line inside is the actual size of your finished piece once it's all been stuck down and basted and everything. Oops, dropped it on the floor. So there's lots and lots and lots of different things. I've got a little cutting mat in here as well. It's my original bag that I kept everything in. So there's loads of pieces. I'll just get them out. So there's all of the big hexagons and the small diamonds that I just showed you with the plastic piece. And I will get back to it, but like I said, it's something you really have to pay attention to. I've got some pieces of fabric here that have been cut out and not basted yet, so you can get an idea of how tiny these pieces are. So that was a spare tail from one of the rosettes. This is the Tula Pink fabric, and it's actually probably one that I hadn't cut properly. So you can see this is how big the fabric piece is, and that's the size of the finished one there. So yes, intricate work, but really really time consuming, but really rewarding at the same time. And I will finish it one day, but I'm in no rush. If you look on Instagram, there's some amazing projects. I'll write down in the bottom and link to some really good accounts on Instagram that show you these patterns. But if you like hand sewing and you wanted something long term that you can just pick up and put down whenever you like, it's a great project. I actually did take this on holiday with me once. I just took some fabric and the plastic bits and cut the fabric out and then basted a whole rosette. I think it was the first one actually. Basted the whole rosette while I was on holiday. And yeah, you can be really fun with your colour palette if you wanted to, or you could be, just choose one type of colour scheme, neutrals, or you can mix brights. I'm just going for whatever I feel like, basically. So that is my La Passacaglia. I'm going to move on to some acquisitions. And I got a lovely gift through the post today, actually, from my fabulous friend Tracy over in Canada, and she is Comfy Red Couch on Instagram. So hi Tracy, and thank you for my amazing presents. I've already spoken to you today anyway. Tracy sent me this amazing sock set from Purl, and it is in Mistletoe Kisses. So it's this glorious sort of dark forest green, red and cream with this beautiful red mini skein. And this is my second ever Purl yarn. I've not actually knit any of it yet, but this is just beautiful, and this will go away in my stash and be saved to be my cast on for Christmas. So planning ahead massively. Sorry if you can hear a tractor. My dad's decided to mow the lawn. He's not made an appearance for a while, has he? Okay, and the next one from Tracy was this gorgeous ball of Scrumptious Purl in the Marrakech colourway. So it's a beautiful striping yarn with red and light blue, orange, and like a purpley blue as well, which is glorious. And this yarn is so soft. Let me see the makeup. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. And this will have to be hand knit because it's just too pretty to put on the machine. So thank you for those beautiful yarns, Tracy. And she also sent me a Christmas project bag, which I haven't opened yet. So my Purl yarn can live in here. Got a little handle here as well. So gorgeous little Christmas project bag. I'm going to put my Purl yarn in there now. So it's all ready to cast on next year. And she also sent some things for the kids, which they've not had yet because obviously they're still at school. So thank you in advance for those. I'm sure that they'll be massively overexcited to get those. Okay, so some more acquisitions. I made a purchase from Kate Celine, which I said I was not going to buy anything this year, but who am I kidding? I bought 2 glorious sets of minis. There's Kate's card. And Kate's yarn is quite possibly some of the most beautiful yarn ever. So I've got a set of 6 chunkies here, which is 75, 25, 20 gram skeins in this glorious mix of speckled colours. And I have a set of 10 gram minis on the same base. Gorgeous little, Kate's obsessed with anything red and red spotty, and she's obsessed with toadstools, and this comes with the gorgeous little toadstool stitch marker, and those are the colours for those. So I think these will probably go in my blanket. Now, I'm not showing my blanket today because I haven't done any work on it at all this week. So they were from Kate, so thank you Kate, they're beautiful as always. I also ordered some yarn from Kettle Yarn Co. So they were doing a limited edition of this one here, which is a new base as well. It's Baskerville Dark, which is British Gotland, British Exmoor Blueface and silk, and it's in a fingering weight. Get that to focus. No, okay, not having any of it. Oh, there we go. And this one here is the bale fingering, which is yak, silk and merino, superwash merino. So I bought these with the intention of knitting them together in a shawl. But when they arrived, as soon as I saw this one, I thought, right, I know exactly what will go through that. So, go with that. The last instalment of my Mrs. Weezy's Knit Club from last year, so the December one, goes with it perfectly. So if you've not received yours yet, which I hope you have because it's been quite a while, but if not, look away now. I actually dyed 3 extra skeins for myself to make a cardigan, and when this skein came from Kettle Yarn Co, I thought, right, they've got to go together. So this skein here was Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club, and it was part of the Villains or Guys We Love to Hate round, which is the last 3-month round that I did, and this is called Bellatrix. So it's a speckled skein with lots of fluorescent purples and blue with grey, and then there's also speckles here. And don't they go nicely together? So my intention with these is to knit a timely cardigan, and instead of striping it, I'm going to knit the entire cardigan itself out of Bellatrix with the cuffs, button band and hem in this one, and I just think they go so nicely together. So that will be my next garment on the needles. When I placed an order with Kettle Yarn Co, I also ordered a couple of project bags because I need more project bags apparently. And this is the first one. To be honest, I was drawn in by the leather handles and the big chunky gold zips. So this is the first one. Let me see if there's any. And it's made by Lasserie sur le Gâteau, French. And this is the big one that I got, and I also got a little sock sack as well. And inside they have this cool fabric. Really nice size project bags. And they both have this gorgeous embroidered gold, like fingerprint on the front. So metallic gold. So 2 gorgeous project bags as well, because you can never have too many. Well, you can just can never stop buying them apparently. So that's those. And I also placed an order with Amy from Stranded Dye Works. And let me just show you. Amy's a very good friend of mine. And in her last update, I just couldn't resist. I bought these 3 on Amy's Paradise base, which is her MCN fingering base. So you've got Heliograph, which is this one here, which is a beautiful mauvey base with pops of pink and orange and purple. Anti-Valentine, which is stunning. Purples and black and grey. And this one, which is Glass Slipper. And this is also a bluey mauve base with pops of pink as well. So what they will become, I have no idea. I just can't resist. Aren't they beautiful? Absolutely love them. And also last time I was, me and Amy were speaking a while back, and she said she had some skeins of seconds of pinata on mohair, so I also persuaded her to let me have one of those, which is just so beautiful. So I'm tempted to combine these two together. So this is a mohair silk, and this is the heliograph colourway, and I just think they would either make the most glorious hat or cowl or something, because this mohair, you would think, if you've never felt this mohair before, you would think it's quite rough. It's not. It's gloriously buttery, silky soft, and it's got the most amazing halo. Look at that. I've actually knit a hat double-stranded with some MCN and this mohair, and it's so lovely to wear. How pretty is that? So thank you for those, Amy. Beautiful as always. And the last thing that I've got to show you today, I actually, because I've been knitting mittens, I wanted some mitten blockers, and I found this amazing shop on Etsy. The guy who owns it is called Alexander. He's based in the Ukraine, and he makes these to order by hand. So I got some mitten blockers. If I just hold them back, and they're really long, and the reason that I wanted longer ones was because the Selbu mittens that I finished recently by Ellie of Skein were really long on the arm, and I just wanted some that I could actually block them out properly on. So these are the mittens, and also I thought, well, one day I may possibly get round to knitting some proper gloves, so I got these as well. I will link the shop. I can't remember the name of the shop off the top of my head, but I also got a pair of the mitten ones as well. And then these gorgeous, I'll take one out of the bag if I can. These are actually key rings. So tiny, tiny little sock blockers as a key ring. So I'm gonna go and put one of these on my car keys now that I've shown them. And they come in a pack of 4, I believe. Aren't they adorable? And they're all finished by hand. They're beautifully smooth, and they feel just so lovely, and it's so nice to think that these are actually being made by hand for you as well. Okay, so I've got a couple of things, exciting things to tell you about. The first one is I'm drawing a prize for the giveaway that I announced in the last episode, which was to win, excuse all the noise, this lovely project bag and needle minder from Buttoned Up and Pinned Down, 2 sachets of soak, and then I finally found the yarn that I was talking about last week, and it's a 50-gram skein of my Minerva McGonagall colourway on the Super Sock base. So the prize is these, and I just went into the Ravelry group and used a random number generator, and the winner is Wheels Wife. If you can see, if it will focus on there. No, so that's very useful. But anyway, it's Wheels Wife. So congratulations for winning that prize. Don't worry about getting in touch with me. I will get in touch with you, and I will get these on the way to you. The second piece of exciting news was today I released my first knitting pattern. I was talking to you about it last time. It's the DEWDROPS socks, and I'll insert a picture here for you. So that went live on Ravelry today, which is Friday the 26th, and it's actually running with a 20% off coupon until the end of Sunday the 28th of January. So if you wanted to head over and buy that, now you will get a 20% discount. And I am also going to start a knit along for the DEWDROPS socks in the Ravelry group, so I will get that up as soon as possible. The rules for that are knit the DEWDROP patterns, and that's it. There are no rules, so obviously it's not going to be a work in progress because the pattern's only just come out. So if you start it now, even though the knit along starts on the 1st of February, that's fine. So just knit those, and that will run until the end of February. So I will draw a winner on the 28th of February. I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks in February, so I'm going to take some yarn with me and knit that as well. And I think the pattern would look great with the Marie Curie yarn that I've just dyed, the Snowdrop yarn. So if you've managed to get a skein off that, then that would look great for the Dewdrops pattern. The speaking of the Marie Curie yarn, that will be available until the 31st of January to pre-order. They are dyed to order, so if it does take a week for the order to be dispatched, don't worry, it's coming, it's on its way. The majority of the orders that were placed have left. I think I've got 5 orders outstanding that were placed yesterday, and they will be dyed up on Monday and on their way as soon as possible. So shop news. There isn't a shop update this week on Saturday. That's mainly because we had clubs to dye and also the Marie Curie yarn, so that didn't really leave us any time to dye extra yarn up for a shop update. But what that does mean is that because we don't have orders to pack on Monday, we will have an extra day of dyeing. And today we also took delivery of an extra oven. And what that means is we can get more yarn dyed and out to you quicker. So next week, expect a really bumper update on Saturday. So that will be Saturday the 3rd of February at 8 PM GMT. Our plans for this week are to dye up some Valentine's themed yarn. There will be a shawl set of Valentine yarn, some individual skeins, and also a mini skein set, and they will all be limited edition. They will be available during February, and that will be it. After that, they're gone. We are also planning on dyeing up some Mary Poppins themed yarn, which is our theme for the first quarter of 2018. So we've got a few Mary Poppins colourways coming, and then if we have time, we'll probably experiment a little bit more and get some more things out for you. I've got a couple more bases coming into the shop this coming week as well. So whether they are permanent or just temporary bases, I'm not sure yet, because I've got to see how they dye up and how much I like them. There is the return of the mohair. The mohair is making a comeback in the update next week. Also, I have a yak blend base, which is a natural grey, so it produces really lovely rich colours. And also we have some Aran coming into the shop, some DK, and also a new MCN Aran base as well. So it's quite exciting. We've got some new things to do, and obviously with a new oven we can get experimenting on everything. So I'm really excited for the update next week. Keep your eyes peeled on Instagram, because I will announce or show off any of the colourways that we dye up this week. Will be shown straight on Instagram. And next Friday there will be a blog post on the blog on NorahGeorgeYarns.com all about the yarns that will be in the update on Saturday. So I think that's all that I've got to talk to you about this week in regards to my knitting or crafting and shop updates and things like that. So what we've been doing this week, not a great deal actually. Following all the illnesses at home, and the kids have finally had a first full week back at school after Christmas, both of them. We had Finn poorly the first week, so they went back to school on the Tuesday. He was ill that Thursday and Friday. Then Pippa got it on the Monday and Tuesday, so that week was written off. So this has been the first kind of full week that they've been back at school. So they're both tired, which is wonderful because it means they sleep. And I've been getting a lot more work done, which is great. We actually feel like we're getting some kind of schedule back into place. And then obviously we're going to be going away, so that's all going to go back out the window again. But hey, if that's what mum life's about. So that's it really, just been working. I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody that did buy the Snowdrop yarn, or has bought the Snowdrop yarn so far. That's the charity yarn for Marie Curie. It's sold brilliantly and I'm so happy. We've raised a lot of money for Marie Curie. I'm not going to go into how much we've raised because I'll announce that on the podcast when I get back from my holidays in February, just so that we know exactly how much it is, and once the donation has actually been made and we can confirm that how much that was. But it's been fantastic the feedback that I've had, and obviously Sarah's had from organising all of this, and I do believe that she'll be announcing the die of February soon as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It's really exciting. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be collecting all 12 yarns and making socks in all of the yarns. So I have a lovely floral bouquet of socks to end the year with, which I think, well, you can't really get much better than that, can you? So yeah, that's about all I have to talk to you about today. So it's a bit short and sweet. Hopefully next week I'll have a bit more to show you, because my test knit will be off the needles, and then I'm going to have a cast on party and go wild. So the timely cardigan might be on the needles, some socks might be on the needles, and maybe a shawl, who knows. But thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget the snowdrop yarn. If you want to get that in, that has to be done before the 31st. The listing will disappear from the 1st of February. And the dewdrops sock pattern is also available at a 20% discount until the end of Sunday, and then the knit along starts on the 1st of February. So I will see you all next week, because I'm being good and I'm trying to carve out time to do this podcast properly. So have a great week, everybody. Happy crafting. Bye.